pleasant good evening and welcome to SAT TV's Channel 9 Evening News. I am your presenter, Nisha Charles. Thank you for joining us. Among the major developments, Princess Margaret Hospital gets donation of equipment. Middle East investors interested in doing business in St. Kitts and Nevis. German circumcision ban. Is it a parent's right to choose? Brett Lee confirms retirement from international cricket. Details of these and other stories after the break.
SAT Telecoms Limited has obtained the exclusive rights to the 2012 Olympic Games held in the United Kingdom, and these games are the largest in history to date. The impact of these games will bring millions of viewers to the television screen. SAT Telecommunications is a supporter of the Olympics, and in extension, we support the sportsmen and the women of Dominica. Join hands with SAT Telecommunications Limited and support our sportsmanship. Gold sponsorships at $20,000, silver at $10,000, and bronze at $5,000.
Thank you for staying with us. Now for the details of the news. The Ministry of Health on July 12 conducted a simulation exercise at the Princess Margaret Hospital to test the preparedness and response capacities and capabilities of management and operational staff, as well as national emergency agencies. Some of the objectives of the exercise are to test the hospital's communication skills, to strengthen command and control capacities, and to test the response time of relevant teams. Warning, this is just a test. It is not the real thing. A number of persons have been presenting flu-like symptoms. One person has been confirmed dead. He had a strange form of the flu diagnosed as H1N1D. National epidemiologist Dr. Paul Ricketts says they were alerted on July 12 from the Caribbean Epidemiological Center that a new strain of influenza virus was isolated from a patient who died at the PMH last week.
As we routinely do, we have a strong surveillance system which involves collection of specimens from patients who are admitted to hospital and who have symptoms of respiratory illness. These specimens are sent to Carrick for further. We do an initial testing at our lab at PMH, which can identify that it is in fact influenza, but the further testing of the strain is actually done at Carrick and between Carrick and partner lab at CDC Atlanta.
Immediately on getting information, they scaled up their surveillance efforts to see what was happening in the country with respect to flu-like symptoms, and in fact discovered there was an upsurge of cases presented to the health facilities.
The gentleman who died last week is a farmer from the Castle Bruce area, and in fact we have discovered that 27 people actually presented to the Castle Bruce Health Center this morning. Most of these were young people who were attending a cadet camp out in the Castle Bruce area. Since then, we have, of course, in addition to those 24 presented to Castle Bruce, 19 of those people who were at the camp have also presented to the Accident and Emergency Department at PMH.
Since they had closed the camp and launched investigations into the index case and assumed there may be a link between the farmer who died and the outbreak at the camp.
In addition to these individuals, we've also identified a few cases from, well, 2 cases from St. Joseph this week, one from Portsmouth, and we're still awaiting some information from Marigot and from the Roseau Health Center. But in terms of the clustering of the cases, it appears that most of these cases have arisen from the camp, the cadet camp that was out in Castle Bruce. And as I said, we'll be investigating these contacts further. In terms of the management of these cases, I would yield to my colleagues from the hospital and from the district as to what is actually happening. But this is the situation with respect to the number of cases that we've identified.
Dr. Ruby Blah, Medical Director at the Princess Margaret Hospital, says from the time they were contacted by the Chief Medical Officer, they activated their emergency plan.
Some specifics of that involved cancelling of the outpatient clinics, which allowed space for the screening of the suspect cases that presented to the hospital. So we very quickly separated what the patients that we suspected may have the condition H1N1 into the outpatients department, separating them from the other emergency cases. In addition, any cases that had presented that were not clear emergencies, they were directed to be seen at health centers. Of course, we had to mobilize additional staff, including additional doctors and nurses, to deal with the increased number of patients.
The patients that were seen at the hospital were examined and various tests were done for them to determine if they had the condition or not.
Based on the physical exam, the complaints that they presented with, as well as the basic tests such as chest x-rays and basic blood tests, we made a determination in terms of those who needed admission versus those who didn't show any significant signs of the disease and so could have been sent home. We also are busy putting in place steps to manage what we suspect will continue to be patients who are presenting. And any patient who is presenting to the hospital, well, first of all, we'd like to encourage any patients with respiratory symptoms, including things like fever, cough, shortness of breath, chest pain, to visit first their health centers. They may not all need to be seen or admitted to the hospital.
Those who do present to the hospital with the symptoms are asked to not come to the accident and emergency area. They are in the process of setting up a special area to be seen.
What we are trying to do is to keep a clear separation between patients who we suspect may have H1N1 from patients who will present to hospital for other conditions. So I would like to repeat, if anybody in the public again is presenting to the hospital with those suspicious symptoms, we ask you not to come to the casualty, the accident and emergency department. Please follow the signs that are set up, and we will have facilities set up where you can be seen, screened, and appropriately taken care of.
They're encouraging persons to exercise normal cough etiquette. Do not cough in your hands. Use tissue. Cough in your elbows. Dispose of tissue as soon as possible. Hand washing is essential. Persons presenting flu-like symptoms should stay away from work and avoid crowds as much as possible. This was just a simulation exercise. It was not the real thing. The Dominic Windward Islands Cricket Tournament was officially launched on Thursday, July 12th. Every year, the Windward Islands host a series of tournaments in preparation to select top players for the Windward Islands team.
We do that for our under-15 team, we do that for our under-19 team, and our senior team, which are the three main teams we have been participating in so far. This year we actually had our inaugural under-17 team participating in the tournament, for the inaugural under-17 tournament last week. Our team came second, I think, in the tournament. But for that,
Dr. Nanthan mentioned that this year's tournament will be hosted in Dominic. He says Dominic has been assisting them and hopes they will continue to do so.
This year, we are actually doing our Windwards on our Dominic Windwards under-19 tournament here in Dominica, and really and truly for the past 2 years, Dominic has been partnering with us in the DCA to help us in developing our under-19 tournament and our under-19 team. In fact, the power companies of the Windward Islands sponsored the tournament last year, and they did so the year before. And this year, Dominic is continuing to partner with us to assist us in moving forward.
Coach Alec Rafa says he's extremely passionate about the youth and will do anything in his power to assist them.
I am with you. That is why these guys we have here are very talented young guys, and we expect to do very well in this tournament. Dominica is producing some future stars. When you look at the likes of Jelani Robinson, Brielle Thomas, Strawn and company. These guys, they will make us proud, and we are hoping at the end Dominica will be successful.
One of the players shared his experience as a member of the team.
Yeah, well, first of all, Cavem has been playing with us from since the under 13 level, and I've been playing with Cavem from since the under 13 level. Me and Cavem has grown up to be more than just cricket buddies, but friends and close friends. We speak, and Cavem is very close to our team. I must say, every day we train, Cavem was present, training like he's one of us, advising players, and helping. So obviously, it's our goal as cricketers, obviously, to reach the highest level.
The National Bank of Dominica, the National Cooperative Credit Union, Islands Car Rentals, and ACS Supermarket have pledged to be partners with the Dominica State College to deliver this year's International Taxation in the Caribbean Context, ITCC, course. The course will run from August 7th to 17th, 2012 at the Baffin State campus of the Dominica State College from 5 to 8 p.m. each evening. Head of Continuing Education at the Dominica State College, Mr. Mary Matthew, says the goal of this 21-hour course is to elevate the level of professionals in Dominica by enriching their understanding of critical global challenges regarding taxation of international transactions, especially as they relate to the people of the Caribbean.
The Dominica State College is once again, for the 5th time, offering the International Taxation in the Caribbean Context. This is a course that is targeted at professionals, whether in the legal business, in accounting, in public service, in income tax, in a range of professions, particularly at supervisory and management levels. This course targets this kind of person. And the aim of the course really is to elevate the level of our professionals in Dominica.
Mr. Matthew believes that we are faced with many challenges, and this course is seen as a tool for understanding and relating to these challenges.
In terms of understanding the challenges that we face as far as international transactions are done, and to enable them to be able to deal effectively with their clients who come to them on a day-by-day basis, month-by-month basis, to discuss the matters pertaining to international taxation.
The course is designed to benefit in particular bankers, lawyers, accountants, inland revenue officer, magistrates, financial advisors, senior government officers, politicians, insurance officers, and lecturers. Quite apart from the knowledge, skills, and attitudes that the ITCC course will expose the learners to, successful participants will receive Dominica State College and Texas Tech University certificates. Mr. Matthew mentioned that the idea germinated from Texas Tech University School of Law Professor Vaughn E. James, and he will teach the course. Dr. James is a Dominican who has spent several years in the teaching and legal professions.
The idea germinated about 5 or 6 years ago, really, when Professor James was visiting the island, and he held a discussion with the then president of the Dominica State College, Mr. Hubert Charles, and that is where the idea was conceived. Why? Because Professor James wanted to provide his expertise to help educate and train his fellow citizens. And through discussion, they thought, well, why don't we look at the business of taxation for 2 reasons. One, taxation is a topic that is relevant at all times.
Dominican professionals are encouraged to take advantage of this opportunity to enrich their knowledge and skills by registering for the course. Registration deadline is July 23rd. The National HIV and AIDS Response Program is now much better equipped as they received a donation of equipment on Thursday, July 12th. This much welcome donation came from Saxtel, a Canadian-based telecommunications company, where they donated a 40-foot container loaded with various office and medical equipment and other items. Coordinator of the National HIV and AIDS Response Program, Mrs. Julie Frampton, is giving thanks for the much-needed equipment and said this took a lot of planning before it could materialize.
It was over a year ago when Joanne, one of my staff, or social worker, Joanne George, said to me, do we accept donations, I said, of course, but we have to be mindful of people not using us as a dumping ground. We have to say what we want in that. She says, yes, I know Tricia, and she says there's this agency who can. I say, okay, and then the conference call started from then a year ago. And today we see the container has arrived, and we're going to clear this. We have cleared the supplies, and we will be able to use the supplies.
The representative from SaskTel, who all made this donation possible, Ms. Erin Lord, pointed out that she is very happy in handing over these supplies, which she knows will be put to good use.
It is also through this relationship with SaskTel that SaskTel International is able to deliver this container of donations to Dominica. The container comes as just one venture that the SaskTel We See You program has sent out of Canada. In 2006, SaskTel became the title sponsor for the program named We See You. And since then, the We See You program has produced many containers that have been sent to many different regions all over the world. Some of those including Kenya, Tanzania, Zimbabwe, Nepal, Uganda, and Haiti. And now its 12th container has landed here in Dominica.
Ms. Lord says that one of the goals of SaskTel We See You program is to connect youth and local corporate sponsors with non-profit organizations in international communities who can help provide medical and education support to the most vulnerable people in their community.
This is why SaskTel International was so fortunate to have an amazing partnership with the Caribbean Association of National Telecommunications Organization, CANTO, who back in September of last year first introduced us to the National AIDS and HIV Response Program. From communicating with the great people of the HIV response program and going through the proposal for assistance, it was definitely clear that the SaskTel International Company could really attain its main goal while helping out the response program and on a greater scale the entire healthcare system in Dominica. SaskTel International did our part by filling a 40-foot long by 10 feet high and 10 feet wide container of medical, office, and building supplies.
She also added that SaskTel also did fundraising to provide all the materials needed to transport the 40-foot container into an office. The container contains 600 boxes and 220 standalone items. Caribbean Association of National Telecommunications Organizations, CANTO, representative Ms. Tricia Balthazar, pointed out that this is the second initiative in which CANTO has facilitated SaskTel in such a venture, with the first being in St. Vincent, and this will not be the last. Mr. Balthazar also gave some information on CANTO.
It was founded in 1985 as a non-profit association of telecommunications companies in the Caribbean. The objectives then and now is to establish a forum through which Caribbean telecommunication organizations may exchange information and expertise pertaining to the telecommunications field, generate inputs for orderly growth of the sectors, formulate policy, and consider matters of mutual interest to its members. Over the past 28 years, our membership has grown from 8 members in 8 countries to 108 members in 33 countries. The National AIDS and HIV Response Program was selected by CANTO because, one, they were located in a member country. Lime, Dominica, and Carib Telecoms are both members of CANTO.
She added that CANTO made a great choice by selecting the National HIV and AIDS Response Program, as she knows they will put the supplies to good use. Chief Medical Officer Dr. David Johnson says that with such widespread economic hardship worldwide, this donation came at an opportune time, while thanking the SaskTel representative, Ms. Erin Lord, for such a kind gesture.
This donation of supplies and equipment will certainly go a long way in improving the lives of persons who are infected and affected with HIV/AIDS who are living in Dominica. Not only those directly affected and infected with HIV/AIDS, but also the donation will assist the Ministry of Health in delivering or improving some of the services that we are offering to our clients.
Dr. Johnson went on to give thanks to all those who made this donation possible, with special thanks to coordinator of the National AIDS and HIV Response Program, Ms. Julie Frampton, who he describes as an energizer in the Ministry of Health. He added that the Ministry of Health would love to have continued cooperation with CANTO and SaskTel so that they can work on improving the information technology communication in the Ministry of Health. Residents of Point Michelle are calling on the relevant authorities to ensure that they come to pick up garbage on time so it does not pose a problem on the health of villagers. This request came as the residents are complaining that there has been garbage left on the side of the road for days now, which have not been collected by the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation.
That rubbish is a disgrace for the community. And that new road that just built there, the rubbish just destroyed. That is a destruction for the road. Because I've restaurant just there and the scent of the rubbish, the kind of pollution in the air, when you enter in and you coming out, is this rubbish scent strong. And since Monday that rubbish there, and you can know where to collect that rubbish. You understand? And the people in the village complain about that all the time. There be a shop higher up there. As you enter on the road is worms, maggots on the road up there. And that those things are not good for us in the village of Michelle. And again, that new road there, we really would like to see something being done about that rubbish in the community.
One concerned resident says that the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation normally collects the garbage on Mondays and Thursdays, but have not done so this week, and dogs are going in the rubbish and spreading it all over the community, which is making the already unhealthy situation worse. She pointed out that this is affecting her business as customers constantly complain about the foul odor, which she has to routinely spray air freshener in an effort to downplay the odor. The villager added that when speaking to the truck drivers about the rubbish, some indicated that this occurs when their trucks are broken down. However, some said that when the government does not pay them, they will not come and collect the rubbish. Another villager, Mr. Kelvin Bazil, better known as Kello, who was not pleased with the situation, says this is disgusting and needs to stop.
This morning we had so many maggots on the road, on the side of the road. We have it to be pouring Clorox and disinfectant on the roadside all the time. And I don't think that's the proper place to have that thing, the garbage being dumped. There is a shop right there, and that has to do with people's food and everything else. Rats can come inside, probably go into a bag of flour and infect it with leptospirosis and contribute to some kind of disease and problem in the community. And I think whoever is responsible should do something about that. Find some place at the end of the village or someplace more suitable.
Mr. Bazil added that a new sea defense wall and new road, the community should keep clean at all times to complement the new development that is going on.
The people who are responsible for the health and well-being of the community should take some steps and do something about it. I think the garbage is bad for the community. It does not show a good example, and show Dominica in the light that we tend to think of it as a eco and beautiful place.
He said that this problem is a recurring one, but now it is worse and an eyesore compared to before when rubbish was thrown on the seaside and people would not see, but right now it is on the road.
I think the people took it on their own to put the rubbish there for picking up. But I don't think it was designated through the village council or anybody, who's responsible for getting rid of the garbage. I think the people took it on their own. They figured that's the closest point, and they place the garbage there.
Mr. Bazil says some residents spoke to the village council about this issue, who then said that they would call Solid Waste about it, but nothing has been done to resolve the issue. He added the solution is to place a bin in a secluded area which will not be an eyesore, and the residents would throw their rubbish in it, which Solid Waste would have to clear out regularly, rather than on the side of the road, which is unhealthy. However, another villager said that this situation occurs when the solid waste trucks have broken down, and they have no means of coming to collect the garbage.
The villagers, they must at least, if they don't come and pick it up, leave the garbage at their home. Put it in a proper container or garbage bag until the garbage truck can come and pick it up. And there's a concern I would really like to ask the villagers to keep Point Michelle clean with our new seawall and our new road.
She pointed out that though the villagers know the trucks cannot make it to collect the garbage, they still put the rubbish by the roadside, which is what causes the problem. Efforts to contact the Dominica Solid Waste Management Corporation for answers on this issue proved futile. Reports have been confirmed that Elford Henry, former parliamentary representative of Wesley, has died. He was the operations manager at the Dominica Banana Marketing Corporation from March 8, 2000. He was also involved in local government. He died at the Princess Margaret Hospital on July 13, 2012. It was a special night at the Anchorage Hotel on Thursday, July 12, as 5 chefs battled each other to earn the title of Iron Chef 2012. The event, which was well attended, was organized by the Dominica Water Sports Association as part of activities for Dive Fest 2012. The chefs were provided with a bag of secret ingredients from J. Asifan & Company Limited, who is the sponsor of the event, which they had to use to prepare a dish in 30 minutes using this special ingredient, lionfish. Lionfish was selected as the special ingredient as the Dominica Water Sports Association is currently on a drive to educate the public on a safe way of preparing the fish, which, if not controlled, will take over the coral reefs in Dominica. The 5 chefs were Hesketh Clark of Haven's Best Guest House in Savon Pie, Lester George of Rosalie Bay, Jessica Peanut Byrne, Rhonda Prosper, who is the chef and owner of Randy's Restaurant in Wesley, and Tang Mo Seng, the head chef of 5CG Dominica Company Limited. When the timer started, the chefs quickly got busy sorting out the ingredients they were going to use to prepare their one-of-a-kind dishes. The crowd, which was excited as the chefs, cheered them on while looking very closely to see what ideas were being created as time went on. At the end of the very competitive competition, Lester George emerged as the first runner-up. The winner, who won by a narrow margin, was no other than Jessica Peanut Byrne, who was shocked that she won the competition. All of the chefs were presented with hampers for their participation in the competition. The Peibush Cultural Group displayed Dominica's culture in grand style at the Expo 2012 in Jeju, South Korea. The group captured the imagination of the audience during its Genesis performance on July 12 with songs like Ma Bello, Feeling Hot, and a traditional ballet dance accompanied by the songs Day Day and Fire Brigade. The night before their first show, they held an impromptu freestyle performance in a back room where performers from Senegal, Azerbaijan, and the Ivory Coast danced and pranced to the sounds of their drums. The main performance itself culminated in a Lapo Cabot display and parade at the Atlantic Joint Pavilion of the exposition. The group is led by its leader and cultural officer, Michael Farrell. Expo 2012 is an international exposition which opened on May 12 and runs to August 12 with more than 100 countries and organizations attending. About 8 million visitors are expected to visit the expo by the time it ends. We now go to Ms. Desmond Joseph for tonight's court news.
I find you harsh with me this morning there, yeah?
I mean, all of a sudden.
One man will have enough time to think of his actions as he was remanded at the Stockholm State Prison till January 14, 2013, which is the date where his trial will begin. Kelvin Thomas of Wesley pled not guilty to the charge of theft where he faced Roseville Magistrate Kanye George on Thursday, July 12. It is alleged that Mr. Thomas stole a Dell-inspiring laptop at Myers Bar and Bath Estate property of Mosiah Challenger. The police prosecutor objected to bail, stating that the defendant escaped from prison, in which Mr. Thomas then shouted out, and I quote, "And are you still sending me there?" End quote. The prosecutor also said that Mr. Thomas has a number of similar previous offenses, so bail should not be granted. Magistrate Judge acknowledged the facts and denied bail to the defendant. In more court news, Ruben Lewis of Granby is in a serious hot water with the law as he was charged with 2 counts of burglary at Roseville Magistrate Court. Between May 2nd and 3rd, it is alleged that the young man stole a number of items, which includes half a bale of tissue paper, 2 boxes of pencils, 6 glasses, exercise books, correction fluid, a dustpan, 2 glue sticks, 1 pair of pillowcase, amongst others. The total of stolen items is $448, which belongs to Granby Labour Party constituency. He was also charged with allegedly stealing $4,903 worth of items from the corner shop of Salvinier Remini of Granby. Items include 6 panties, 6 jeans short pants, batteries, flashlights, 1 plastic of condoms, creams, deodorants, Vienna sausages, a cutlass, and blue soaps, amongst numerous other items. Bail was open, but Mr. Lewis indicated he has no one to post bail for him, so he was remanded at the Stockholm State Prison. The trial date is set for December 3rd of 2012. In court news again, Jumaya Challenger of Bapper State, who was charged with conspiracy to import cocaine, has been denied bail. The police prosecutor, Inspector Innocent Tusse, objected to bail on grounds that Mr. Challenger was on bail for a similar offense, which he allegedly committed the act is at flight risk. Investigations are ongoing, and if released, he may interfere with the investigations. His attorney, Donio Stewart, argued that although her client was charged with foreigners, this doesn't mean he's at a flight risk and has a permanent address and family in Dominica. The attorney also argued that police do not have any evidence to support the drug charge of the client. However, the charge is a bailable one. However, Magistrate Judge said that the troubling thing is that he committed the offense while on bail for a similar offense. It is likely he could not do it again for bail, so bail is denied. The trial is set for October 15, 2012, and disclosure is expected on or before August 31, 2012.
Thank you, Deslin, for the court news. This has been the local segment of the news. Coming up next,